Ec24 Adaptability. Soul-to-soul talk. Adaptability. Life guiding conversations with Morai, Amoro and Jenai summer. Let's talk about adapting ourselves to situations, spoke Morai. Amoro continues speaking. The most important thing we must realize is that there is nothing permanent in creation, as everything is bound to the balancing force of change. Even the strongest looking mountain will disappear one day again, being part of this ever-changing phenomena through erosion, corrosion, eruptions, floods, and climate changes. You mean to say that there is no security at all in creation? Asked Jenai. How did you connect that so fast in your mind, Jenai? Replied Morai. This is what I have been hearing and reading about. I read once that the only security we have is that one day this body is no more. People are desperately trying to secure things in their world and are even willing to kill for it. Wow, that is a lot of wisdom you spoke just now, said Morai, continued speaking. We get conditioned to live with certain people, acting and reacting a certain way. But when that person suddenly reacts or acts differently, the people around have a difficult time to adapt. It is the same when people are used to a certain lifestyle, and through financial or health circumstances, things change. People tend to start complaining. At school or at work, when suddenly different rules come into play, or a different face shows up in a higher function, trouble starts. People have a hard time to adapt to new situations. Why is that, Morai? Asked Jenai. You just said it. It is about this false security. We become creatures of habit. It is the same thing with eating a certain way, and suddenly through circumstances we cannot have those foods. We complain. Basically, people have a hard time to adapt in the adventure of life, which is an ongoing adventure with different experiences. We came from another world, call it the eternal ocean of love, Everland, the home of Kandu, into the creation, to experience this impermanent world where everything is bound to change. And now, while we are here, we look for permanency and security. An adventure is only an adventure when there is always something new and unfamiliar. We tend to forget this, and in every situation when things are not going according to our wishes or conditioned patterns, we tend to complain, fight, or run away from that circumstance. This is the state of our mind, called Kalimabanko, who is trying to give us false security in the impermanent world and doesn't want us to go with the flow but rather against it. There are three groups of people that react a certain way when they have to adapt to circumstances around them. The first group stays in that circumstance and keeps on complaining. The second group runs away to escape the situation and ends up in another situation, and they keep running. Then there is the third group of people understanding that life is an adventure, and that the best way to go through life is to adapt to the situations life has to offer, which is walking the path of the hero, and not falling into the trap of being a victim of circumstances. Sometimes we may practically able to change things around, but we must approach this without expectations, otherwise we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. But definitely we can adjust in our mind of how we look at things, which is adapting to situations and circumstances. How do we stay aware of this, and where do we get the strength from to keep on adapting, Morai? by connecting with our real self within, the soul, the spirit, or that crystal child of light and love, and by reconnecting with Kandu the Creator. By doing so, we need a different point of reference outside our worldly and momentary adventure. And from that space of consciousness, we can guide ourselves better and can stay adaptable in any situation. And to do that, we need to spend time in silent and inner prayer and meditation. You got it, Jenai.